Hello and welcome back to Songs of Six. Here we are, back again in our multiracial city. This city is now named Gardavania, if you didn't know, and this is our flag here. I was thinking maybe I should put like a little leaf around it, but you can't really get too much detail in these. So we're just going to go with that, starting off there. And if you didn't know and you haven't been following along, what we're going to do is try to do the most we can with the other races. It doesn't matter if we have all equal race or whatever. I'm just doing it that way for now because it's fun. But my goal was to surpass 20 population for each of them. And so what I've done is I've built each of them their own little regions, their own little areas. We have the Enteldon area here. We have the Auric pastures here for our tilapia workers. Then we have our farms where our Crotonians work. We have some different industries in between that the tilapia or whoever might work at. And these houses, I had built them. I think I'm going to remove them. and we'll keep the services so that they can access them, but they will live in their own areas. They should stay in their own areas. So why don't I do that right now, actually? And we'll just do this. And there's going to be some homeless people, but that's fine. We'll figure out who is homeless and where. It's probably some stinky humans or something like that. Regardless, we have regions for each of them, specifically distancing guys like the Amevians here and their Globdian pasture because they dislike everyone else, and we don't want them to have to deal with them at all. We do have them all trained up to fight, though, so if there's any kind of battles that we get into, they will definitely... Oh, look at, they're all returning their furniture. They will definitely get into it together. Everyone is going to fight together, and that's the goal. And then we have our Dundarian zone here. Beautiful Dundarian zone. These guys are super happy, well, usually. And then the Cretonians are up north of there. We have the Garthimes kind of spread out into caves here doing their mining. They are the hardest to get happy. But I have 21 of them now, so I think I'm going to start by producing some, by making some via the baby system here. So we're going to go into Procreation, and we're going to start making a Garthime hatchery. And I'll probably put it over here so that the Garthimes can actually work at it. So, I'll see you guys in a minute when I get some significant distance in the game. I want to try to get to, like, at least 500 or 750, because I'm trying to get deep into this game. I have a lot in me today, so I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, here we are. Whew, man, have I been working hard. This is a challenge if I've ever done one, and you can only see we've got 30 of each of the races. That's like 5 or 6 more than most, but I've done a lot. We've, I think, doubled. I think we had 100 humans, now we have 200 humans. We have room for 64 more immigrants to come in. We're also producing all of the races now, and I'm going to go over that. Starting with the northern guys here. These are our bread makers here. And for a while we didn't have any technology put into these guys. I finally managed to upgrade my labs and give them some technology. And also I wanted to give these guys some roads in here. Stuff like that to make it look nicer. So we've got some fruit orchards here. These ones aren't ready. We just planted them. But we've got this fruit orchard here. And it produces a fair amount of fruit, for what it's worth. And I think we just had a an actual cut. We had to cut it because it looks like half those are cut. But we also got these 3 big farms. We've got our grain, fruit, and vegetable farm. The vegetables are literally just for the Cretonians so that they're happy. The other races do not eat vegetables. They don't care for them. They don't need them. The Cretonians are the only ones who benefit from vegetables. Everyone can eat them, but it's just best if the Cretonians are saved those. And then we have another grain farm on the way. We've got 60 houses for the Cretonians living here. And we've got their little Cretonian breeder here. It's only got room for 6. I think a lot of people get in this mindset of bigger and bigger. And I've been talking in the Discord a lot recently. And if you're one of those people I've been talking to, hello. This size is perfectly okay. 6 is fine. You could do 3. You could have done 2. It really is better to control how many you want to produce. So let's say you had 5 buildings that produce 5 each. You could turn off 2 or 3 of them and say that's only going to be 10. I find that this limiter doesn't actually work. Even if you said it doesn't really work. It's limiting how many babies are supposed to be made. I don't know why it doesn't work. It maybe has to do with something that I am not understanding. I have no clue. But I think that's the best way to deal with it. So for now, we have like 6 Kryptonians being produced here. But then over here, we have 14, or a capacity of 11. You can see for the Tilapia. Because Tilapia are a little more valuable. They're going to be dying out a little bit faster because they have more dangerous jobs working with Entildont. Just dangerous in general. They have to pretty much put themselves on the line. And yeah, it's going to take 50 to get that first work safety, but I'll probably get that next. So we put a warehouse in here. We have our Entildont pasture and our Orc pasture here. I rearranged them and expanded the Entildont pasture. I'd like to actually probably add another pasture or two. As we can see, we have very low food still. We have 14 days, but that's not enough. Not enough by a lot. So we need to get that going. But 1.2k on the grain front and rising looks good to me. So on to the next bit here. We've got this nice canal. And something I want to recommend to players is build your canal first. Extend it to where you want the river to go, or where the water to come from. And then build your pumps. That's what I did. So I put this here knowing that it was going to reach all the way from that spot. That's what I had planned. So these 4 I could... Jesus Christ. I tried to ignore this guy, but he slowly drove his moped as loud as possible in the background. Lovely, lovely. Like I mentioned many episodes ago, there's always going to be a moped. Or something. I don't know why. It's just part of where I live. So, we've got these pumps here. These pumps are producing water, and they give access to all of our people to basically swim. I've also had comments in the Discord about people not believing that they clean them off. If you look, they are actually cleaning themselves off. They're skinny dipping. Not only does this give access to small boost in awe, let's look at here. It also gives early cleaning. So they will clean off here as well as the wells, but because they're not always cleaning off the wells, it actually will help out a lot with their access, in my opinion at least. I don't know this for a fact, but that's something I've noticed at least. So you can see they all can come in here and swim, and they get cleaned up, and that helps them out, makes them happier. We've got pools throughout here. Ideally, I'm going to put this through here and expand it over here, and then put some more pools in for these guys, and then put some moats in for the Garthimes. We're gonna have them kind of living in here, sharing some space with these Dondarians. So after that we got the Tilapia situated, I went, well, first of all, I got the Garthimi situated. So we have the most Garthimi space possible. But as you can see, all my Garthimes, they're children. They're starving to death. They've been starving to death for about 14 decades. They aren't going to die. They're just sitting here relaxing and waiting for someone to come back to work because my Garthimes were just huge. I have like 50 already. And I didn't really want to overdo it because there's no jobs for them except for this. I built this Baltic crawler breeder just to kind of compensate the fact that there's no jobs for them. I could keep throwing them at the ore mine, but they're really not doing much there, and they seem to still be, well, they were unhappy. Now they're much happier because most of these guys should be native. Most of them, not all of them. Seems to be some of them are still immigrants, but over time when they die, I will let this get active again. I'll probably start up now. And I'm going to have them reproducing so that we can replace the old ones with new ones. And they'll be happy about that. That'll be good. And then our Amevians, who surprisingly are the happiest, or one of the happiest groups in our population here, they literally only have this building here, and it gives them more access because it takes longer to grow Amevians. And I went for a unique approach for each design of their areas. So for me, Amevians have this straight design, but it's kind of unorganized to compensate for the fact that they're not really that organized as a creature. That's just how I think of them. And so we've got their little warehouse and all this stuff combined with their Mevia hatchery. And obviously, they're not really into building. They build mud houses and mud buildings, but that's pretty much all they need. So a lot of their buildings are going to be out in the open, fisheries. There's another fishery here, stuff like that. Nothing really needs to get put in here. Maybe a court later down the line, but they don't do jobs like that. If you look in their work priorities, they're not particularly good at any of this stuff. So there's no reason to make them do it. You know, they've got physician, which of course they'll have physician over here. But so they don't need those buildings, so we're not going to put them. They will literally only have houses and more fishing spots. We need to get some actual good fishing spots. There's access more over here, so we might have to build a little bridge and then put a fishery here and then continue and put the bridge over there. Who knows what we're going to do here, but we've got the humans have expanded. This whole zone here is humans, so we have room for 240. There should be 160 here, and I think 80 here. And then we've got a little human nursery tucked in the middle with people working here, feeding our babies fruit. I think it's turned off. No, it's not turned off. They're just starving to death for no reason. I don't know why. I think it's because no one wants to work there half the time. A lot of the time what happens is the people that come into our city go straight to training. I wouldn't recommend doing what I did here. Maybe set them to, as a matter of fact, we'll do that. We'll set them to 30 so that the people that come in here can kind of chill out. And these guys are going to go down to 30. They can relax. The Dundarians can be at 50 because we already have them. So the Dundarians are they're the oddball. They can't be reproduced. They are only immigrated. So we have them set to auto immigration, 50. So I built 50 houses and basically set them to the next level. So when I get to the next space, I'll build room for 75 or 80 actually, and then set that up to the next one. They're extremely happy with their lives. Nothing bothers them really, and the more work they have to do over here, the happier they are. So in reality, the best I could supply this area, the better. And most of them are working at the carpenter here, producing excess furniture, which I'm selling, as well as pottery. I'm importing clay, which I'm selling in as pottery. And a lot of them are working over here in the pottery building. And then we have a tailor here. He's making clothing. We have our smelter, charcoaler. I think this is another tailor. There's two tailors. Two tailors. I guess one of the tailors was making leather armor, so we're going to switch him back over to leather armor. And then we have a weaver and our smithy. And then the carpenter here, he's making warhammers. So we're making weapons, and we're making warhammers and flanks, as well as bows. So we're trying to make a combination. And you can see I have no leather armor because they weren't building that. Most of my leather armor went into building all of these guard posts. I put a guard post, a small one in each of the smaller areas, and then I put some bigger ones over by the humans. And I think that's about it. We're trying to expand in here, give the Dundarians some more space for their production, although I really like the way this is working here. This little road provides us with a good amount of resources. As you can see, the only things that I'm low on are actually the things that are being produced. So I'll have to expand my Enteldome pastures, my Auric pastures, get more Tilapia, get more Crotonians. The Crotonians are going to be the backbone here until I can keep probably like 300 of them maybe, working in the farms, working in the fields. We'll have it all stretched up to the north here, to the region border. And then from there, we can start to expand all of our other goods like paper making, etc. Also, we have our little dungeon here, tucked away with a slaver. A lot of times, I think people get the impression that because a thing says, like, slaves, they don't like to be a slave. It's not a bad thing. Your population is already at a high level, so to lower your population, happiness isn't a bad issue, really. It's not the problem. So, for example, my law, I have 7 people who are in crime, or in the dungeon. These people, basically, they're randomly selected to do different things here. So some of them are just set to be imprisoned, some of them will be executed, some of them will be enslaved, and a good portion of them Well, actually, no one will be killed in the arena. But it's a detriment. So they basically deter people from actually doing crimes. So if we put that up there, we're going to kill people in the arena. That's going to deter them from doing crimes. The same with enslaving and execution. So these all deter them from doing crimes in their own regard. It's not a... Someone brought it up in the Discord, basically, that it's not just one. If you just execute them, it doesn't really work the same as if you do all of them. And I've noticed that to be true, or at least so far true. Not to mention just being able to sell the slaves, having random slaves and make money off them is pretty dang old cool. Not gonna lie. And also I can upgrade these stages now too, because we always have a spare stock of cut stone. I try not to use it all. I went in, put little pillars and little statues in here randomly to give each zone a boost. You can see we've got a little statue here, statue there. We've got some big old pillars tucked away randomly. Probably need some pillars in here too. But I've been doing a lot, working hard, trying to get these populations happy. The main goal is to keep the humans happy, and I'm exceedingly doing well at that. They don't have to do anything really. Most of their jobs are pertaining to actually the things they like to do. So laboratories, and then the random few are working at like lavatories, graveyards, etc. because they're the backbone of the society. Eventually, when I have a surplus of them being born, then we'll be okay. But the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by expanding my food production. And grain is the next step, but then there'll just be more and more farms for vegetables and fruits until maybe I can capture a region. Probably Oslo here. They look like they're ready to be captured from me. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you all enjoyed this little tidbit. If you have any questions or concerns or ideas or thoughts, be sure to share them in the comments as they help out my channel. All of the support you guys do, everything you do helps out in the long run. Just even liking that video gives YouTube that knowledge, that AI algorithm to help me out, which really helps out. I know people do watch the videos and I don't expect much from them, but it does help in the long run, so I do appreciate it. Anyways, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.